Hello everyone, let's discuss today's The Hindu editorial page. The first article is a speaker's flawed move to determine the real faction. In this article, the writer says that the Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly, Rahul Narvekar, was tasked with determining whether the breakaway group of Shiv Sena members of the Legislative Assembly, MLA, under the leadership of Eknath Shinde, voluntarily gave up their party membership and later voted against the whip issued by that party, the Shiv Sena, and thereby incurred disqualification. Voluntary giving up the membership of their original party or voting against the whip of the party are treated as defection, and members of the legislature who do either of these things are liable to be disqualified under the anti-defection law contained in the 10th schedule of the Constitution. It was irrelevant whether Eknath Shinde later became the chief minister or if a majority of the Shiv Sena's legislators joined the Shinde group or the original Shiv Sena party became a minority in the assembly. These facts are irrelevant for the determination of the question of disqualification under the 10th schedule. The petition was filed by the original Shiv Sena party, which sought the disqualification of the Shinde group. When such a petition is filed before the Speaker, he gets the jurisdiction to decide whether the respondent legislators have defected. The facts placed before the Speaker were that the rebel MLAs under the leadership of Eknath Shinde had secret meetings in a faraway state and did not attend the crucial legislative party meetings called by the president of the original Shiv Sena party, Uddhav Thackeray, without giving any reason. This rebellion by the group of MLAs loyal to Eknath Shinde culminated in the formation of an alliance with the party in opposition and Mr. Shinde being sworn in as chief minister. Whether a member of the legislature has voluntarily given up the membership of his party is to be determined on the basis of the facts and circumstances of each case. The Supreme Court of India has on several occasions explained the scope of this term used in paragraph 2, 1A of the 10th schedule. In Rajendra Singh Rana versus Swami Prasad Maurya, 2007, the court had stated that when a member or a group of members of the ruling party joins hands with the opposition party and meets the governor along with the members of the opposition and try to form an alternative government, they can be said to have voluntarily given up the membership of their original party. Speaker Narvekar's nearly 200-page long judgment valiantly tried to avoid this consequence and save the Shinde group from disqualification. It is a deeply flawed judgment. Originally, under the 10th schedule, a legislator could avoid disqualification on two grounds. First, a split in his political party occurs wherein 1/3 of the legislators form a faction and break with that party. Second, the legislator's party merges with another party. In conclusion, the Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly, Rahul Narvekar, was tasked with determining whether the Shinde group of MLAs voluntarily gave up their party membership and subsequently incurred disqualification under the anti-defection law contained in the 10th schedule of the Constitution. The next article is from the Mint newspaper, that is the Geography of Unequal Growth. In this article, the writer says that India's states have seen significant growth in the past 30 years, with higher income states located in the south, west and northwest, and lower income ones in the north, center and east. The per capita state domestic product, SDP, of higher income states was 1.7 times higher than that of lower income states in 1990 to 91. And by 2019 to 20, this ratio had widened to 2.5 times. The main reason for this difference is the substantial strength in the growth of manufacturing and services in higher income states. There is a great deal of emphasis on raised investment in infrastructure in lower income states, which could make a difference to their growth potential. However, infrastructure in higher and lower income states does not show a significant difference, with some high growth states being above the national average in road length and rail length. Infrastructure also shows a significant difference in per capita power availability. which is significantly below the national average in the Gangetic and eastern states. The most visible difference between lower income and higher income states is in entrepreneurship. The distribution of organized sector factories, including those included in the Annual Survey of Industries, ASI, is around 75% in higher income states. The location of the richest 100 Indians, all of whom are entrepreneurs, is another telling measure of the skewed geographical ovation of entrepreneurship. A major source of growth in the post-liberalization era has come from services, particularly information technology companies, which now account for 7.4% of gross domestic product and employ 5.4 million people. These companies are mostly located in the few higher income states, with West Bengal, Kolkata, as an exception. The principal explanation for the widening difference in per capita SDP lies in the major shift in investment from the public to the private sector. Between 1990 to 91 and 2019 to 20, the share of the public sector in gross fixed capital formation fell from 40% to 23%, while the share of the private sector rose from 18% to 38%. This highly lopsided distribution of large enterprise entrepreneurial capacity in the private sector is the most important reason for the widening spread of per capita income between the north, center, and east, and the south, west, and northwest. The next article is prohibitive gains. Rising food prices may affect already weak consumption of goods. In this article, the writer says that the Consumer Price Index showed inflation to rise to a 4-month high in December, with gains in food prices accelerating at a faster pace due to persistent inflation in cereals and pulses. Headline retail inflation increased by 14 basis points from November's level to 5.69%. While price gains measured by the Consumer Food Price Index accelerated by 83 basis points to 9.53% in December. Cereals, the biggest constituent of the food and beverages group, logged 9.93% inflation. However, the key subgroup that includes rice, wheat, and coarse cereals continued to register a monthly inflation rate that offered little comfort to households. Sequential price gains were most accelerated in the case of jowar and bajra, which are consumed more widely in rural India, particularly by those facing varying degrees of precarity. Pulses, a key protein source in vegetarian households, also experienced price increases to a 43-month high of 20.7%. Year-on-year inflation in vegetables also registered a nearly 10% percentage point increase from November's level, accelerating to a 5-month high pace of 27.6%. Tomatoes and onions led the charge, rising by over 33% and 74% from December 2022's levels. However, the average retail price of a majority of the 23 food items monitored daily by the Department of Consumer Affairs continues to remain higher as of January 14th, reflecting the challenge policymakers face in containing food price inflation. With households likely to spend larger shares of their income on food, there is a real risk that the knock-on impact on already weak consumption can derail the broader growth momentum in the economy.